access and we don't have voter rights, the same voter rights as those states do, what can we do? Because that message needs to get deeper into the community, and I would love to hear your perspective.
Well, the first thing is you can let people know that Texas is not as free of a state as they think. You know, when you talk to a Texan, they're usually very proud of where they live. They're proud to be a Texan. They're proud of their state. And many of them have no idea what a ballot initiative is, that we don't have a right to referendum. And so when you tell these people that we actually can't make the laws the way they do in California and Colorado and other places, it wakes people up to the fact that we're really not as free as we thought, and that there's such a limited process for changing the laws.
Well, and also let's not forget that there's a lot of money going into certain markets that want to keep the laws the way they are.
Yeah, well, certainly that. And anytime you've got law enforcement who is testifying against changing the law, you got to raise your eyebrows a little bit and say, why is the sheriff down here in Austin talking about legalization being bad?
Right.
Well, what does he have to gain by that?
Job protection.
Well, the thing is, I would argue that your job gets easier when you don't have to worry about busting pot smokers.
Right. Yeah. I would think that too, but there's other people thinking that, we have to keep these prisons full. So
we laugh about it, but let's call the narrative out. So we've talked about this in passing about how it's interesting that cannabis is it hurts communities of color, but it has the potential to help communities that are not of color. And we've seen it already before California became recreationally legal for marijuana. We've seen that. We've seen that just in the prison industrial complex in general, just with the drug war, how the people of color are the ones that are treated, like in the 80s with the Just Say No campaign. It was always the black person that was the picture and the face of crack. So then it's like, I don't know, just shout out to our roundtable viewers and listeners. And I just posed this question to the roundtable. Is it possible that there's a misrepresentation in the culture of cannabis?
Oh, definitely. Because if you look at the people who are stepping out and trying to talk about this, it's predominantly white dudes. And that is not who's going to jail for this. And I think the big part of that is because people are afraid, if I come out of the closet on this, does that mean I'm a target now?
Right.
Well, I mean, I would argue that you're more of a target by driving around town with a busted headlight and a joint hanging out of the window. So if you're not doing that, but you are having an educated opinion about cannabis and you're trying to do something to change it, you're not a target, you're an advocate. And now you're doing something positive and useful instead of just posting on Instagram about how weed should be legal and it's bullshit that it's not.
Right.
So if the community, the whole community says, okay, this is what we're doing wrong, this is how we can make it better, this is what I need to be doing personally, then you get the people to come out of the closet and show just how diverse this movement is. Because everybody uses cannabis. Everybody knows somebody who uses cannabis. And if you don't, then you probably have a very small social circle.
Right.
Because the fact is, this is a substance that's been around for longer than our country has been a country.
Yep.
And it's part of our culture, it's part of our history. Mm-hmm. And the simple fact is, it is a plant that could not kill you if it wanted to. The war on drugs is not a war on drugs.
15 pounds in 15 minutes, I believe it is. It's
like, and that wouldn't be the cannabis that kills you. It would be the smoke inhalation.
Right.
So it would be similar to being trapped in a burning building. Yeah, or if it fell on you. Yeah, sure.
Right, if it fell on you.
Sure, nobody wants to consume that much. I mean, first of all, how much would that even cost you? 15 pounds of cannabis? I mean, let's just... some simple math, thousands and thousands of dollars.
Well, and while we're on the topic of money, let's pivot. I'll read a short excerpt from the New York Times. So, retail cannabis shops in California opened their doors on Monday for the first time, inaugurating what proponents say will become the world's largest market for legalized recreational marijuana. A transaction that remains illegal in many parts of the country seemed almost banal on Monday for the customers at a dispensary in Oakland who picked out their marijuana, showed their driver's license, and walked into the brisk morning air with their drugs in a paper bag. Quote, "This is a whole new world opening up," end quote, said Diana Gladden, 48, who bought marijuana for herself and her aging parents. Quote, my mother, a very strict Southern Baptist, now thinks it's okay because it's legal, end quote. So let's just touch on that. The money that was already going into the black market, and Steve, you're a cannabis entrepreneur, you understand this as well. The money that was going into the black market in certain states, they've now, in California, is, the biggest of them now that's legalized, is realizing that, okay, this black market money, this could be money that we could use for, our homeless veterans. This is money that we could be using for schools. This is money we could be using to build more hospitals. You know what I mean?
Re-gentrifying neighborhoods.
Why does it have to go to weapons, and more drugs and more death and more, insanity? California just got smart. I mean, maybe, I don't know if we
about
agree.
this.
Well, yes, about marijuana, they got smart and just, I don't know, like what's wrong with I don't know, a red state? Seems to me like the numbers have to always add up with the red state, and I think they do here with cannabis. How many people have been thrown in prison for this drug, and then how many people has it helped in spite of the disparity that's being given to it?
Well, Nevada, in the first month of the legal marijuana, made $27 million. That's almost $1 million a day. And we're talking about cash business, you guys. We're talking about, you can't swipe your credit card, you can't run up a credit card. So people are digging in their pockets. $27 million was circulated through the state of Nevada in a month. So why can't a state like Texas? That's cash infusing the country. That's stimulating. You know how many other jobs are created from the marijuana industry? It's not just the marijuana, it's the ancillary businesses, it's the restaurants, it's the pipe shops, it's the entertainment. Mm-hmm. I grew up in Colorado. In Colorado, we didn't have as many entertainers come there when I was a kid, but now all the big entertainers are passing through Colorado. You can pass through Colorado any weekend, and the big entertainers. So you know who else is benefiting from that?
Well, marijuana tends to attract all the cool kids. I don't know if that's the thing.
It is. It's always the cool kids, but that's why we got to step up, and that's why we're here together, because we're the cool kids, and it's time to step up and get these laws and things changed.
As we close out on this topic, I just want to kind of put the button on it, and Sean, Stephen, I want both of your opinions on it. But what's going to happen when we've already talked about it? California is one of the biggest states in the nation, if not the biggest, that has legalized. What's going to happen when more Californians, more big states, more states that know about how to run business, maybe, just like Idaho and Oregon, those businesses, those crop friendly states that are all about, agriculture and entrepreneurship? What's going to happen when their representatives decide we're sick of listening to, the federal government about the CSA? The cannabis, you have a patent on it. So then by definition, you should have already gotten rid of after the first one or before the first one, getting it off of the Schedule 1 list. And, if you want to make money off of it, that's fine. Certain states have said, yes, like California, let's make money off of this. Other states are saying, well, let's start with the veterans and the patients. And that's fine as well. But we have to have progress if we ever expect to see the change. I don't know if anyone agrees at the round table.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. 10 years ago, there was not a place where you could legally buy cannabis as a responsible adult. And now you've got 6 states. This year, it could be 8 states.
Yeah, 2 more supposed to be coming.
I mean, when you're looking at the numbers, it's clear that prohibition is a dwindling policy. All these other states have decided that they're moving past prohibition. And I think the more of these states that decide to step up and take a chance on marijuana, they're going to reap all sorts of benefits. Benefits including things like lower child usage numbers on marijuana, because it's decidedly less cool to use a legal substance than it is to use an illegal substance. So the kids who are just trying to be cool and smoke weed, it's much less rebellious.
Opioid addiction goes down.
Well, opioid addiction goes down, but these kids who are smoking because they think it's cool, their favorite rapper told, they smoke weed, talk about selling weed. Well, now you're talking about Grandma Gladys's medicine. Right. And it's much less cool. You're taking
it more seriously.
You're taking the sexiness out of it. It's less rebellious and more of a part of a healthcare, like a wellness type thing. And that's not cool to kids.
And there's more education in those states. There's education on the news, on the TV. There's pamphlets. So when you spend money and invest money instead of incarcerating people and educating people, people make better decisions. So that's a proof right there that When we put it, it's readily available there, but the usages go down in areas where we need teenage use, and opioid and the counter production to the